What's up boys, Ash here, welcome back to another tactics video. I hope you guys don't mind the snuddy, it's a little bit cold in this room, so yeah, it's doing me quite good at the moment. But yeah, I have some tactics for you. I have 4 different sets of tactics, and I'm going to tell you when I use them in each part of the game, so which one I start with, which one I use when I need a goal. I'm just going to give you my full game plan, so you can use it in Foot Champions or whatever you like. So yeah, let's get started. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out eafc.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Alright then guys, so when I go into a game, the first formation that I will always use is the 4-2-3-1. Now the reason I use the 4-2-3-1 is because it is one of the most balanced formations in both the attack and the defense. You can play wide with it as well, or you can play narrow with it. There's endless possibilities, and it is really consistent in pretty much every area of the game, so it's really good for testing your opponent out and getting a foothold in the game. I love this formation so much, probably my favorite in the game, which is why we do use it from the start. So the tactics we use for it, the defensive style, we just have it on balanced. That's pretty self-explanatory. We don't always want to press our opponent, sometimes we do, so we can pick and choose when. Width we have on 43 because we don't want our defense to be crazy wide, and we also don't want it to be crazy narrow either, so it is really nice and balanced in that regard. The depth we just have this on 60. A lot of people use 71 depth. It's like a glitched pressure thing, but when I'm starting off the game, I don't like to use that. I feel like it's a bit too aggressive. So 60 depth works really well because you can win the ball back higher up the pitch, but you don't push up too high either. So really nice to use that. Build up play, guys, we do have this on balance. Now we have it on balance because it's the most consistent form of build up. You can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build up, so it is really useful. Chance creation, I run direct passing. It's the only one where your attacking players move in the correct way, in my opinion, so very important to have this setting on. For the width, I just have this on 49, one below 50. The reason for this is I don't want my attack to be too wide, and I also don't want it to be too narrow. So I do find this nice and balanced. Players in box, we just have this on 5. This is so we can get a few players into the box to finish off chances, of course, but we don't overcommit everybody to the point where we're going to get counter-attacked if we lose the ball. Corners and free kicks, we also have these on 2. This so I have a player in the box if I want to cross it, but I can also play it short. As for the instructions in this formation, guys, I just have the striker on stay central and mixed attack. This is because I don't want him drifting out wide. Mixed attack just gives me a lot more variation in my attacking plays. For the 3 cams, I actually just leave them alone. I don't touch them. I don't like to restrict them all that much, and I just leave them alone. Let them do their own thing. Very useful to leave these alone, guys. You can fiddle around with this if you like, but it's not necessary. For the left CDM, my more defensive one, stay back, cover center. Stay back, obviously we don't want him flying forward. He's a more defensive minded player, so we do have him on stay back, and then we also have him on cover center, so he does defend those central areas. For the other CDM, the more attacking box to box player, whatever you want to call him, balanced attack, cover center. This is so he's not always restricted to defending, and he does defend those central areas. For the fullbacks, I have one of them on balanced overlap. This is so we do get extra width in the attack, which is really nice. We do always have that wider option. And then for the other one, stay back and overlap, so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, but we can send him on a run forward on the overlap if we want. As for everyone else, we just completely leave them alone. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the content are not subscribed, so if you are finding any of these videos helpful, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out massively. Also, don't forget to drop the video a like as well. And with all that aside, guys, let's get back to the video. If I'm losing the game or I'm not feeling it with the 4-2-3-1 because I'm not getting the attacking plays I want, I will often switch to the 4-3-2-1. I find this to be a bit more of a direct formation, a bit better for scoring goals, but you do trade off being a little bit worse defensively, I would say. But yeah, so for the defensive style, I have this on balanced. This is again the same reason. I don't always want to press, and I can pick and choose when and where I do that. 45 width again, don't want the defense to be too narrow, and I don't want it to be too wide either. We need that balance. 45 is really good at that. The depth, again, we have this on 60. Really nice balanced depth. You can win the ball back higher up the pitch when you want, but you don't overcommit forward and risk getting through balled all the time. Build up play, again, balance, definitely the best one to use, guys. You can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build up, so it is very useful to have on. Again, direct passing, the most important option by far, guys. It's the only one which will make your attackers move in the correct ways. If you don't have this on, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. Width, again, 48. Don't want it to be too wide, and I also don't want it to be too narrow to the point where your players are like glued together, because that's not good either. Players in box, again, have it on 5. This is so we do get a few players into the box, so we can finish off those chances, of course. And then corners and free kicks, I have these on 1 or 2. Doesn't really matter. You'll notice the tactics for this formation are fairly similar to the 4-2-3-1. The only difference really is that it's a shape change, and the 4-3-2-1's a little bit more aggressive and direct, but that's why I switched to this when I need a goal. Player instructions for the 4-3-2-1, guys. Striker, again, stay central, mixed attack. We don't want him drifting out wide, and we want him to do as much as possible in the attack. So we have him on mixed attack, so he's not always restricted to just getting in behind all the time, guys. Then on the left forward, I have him on stay central, and he's supposed to be on getting behind. I have this issue where, like, my tactics and that reset. I don't know if it's because I'm, like, getting kicked off the servers or what. But yeah, stay central, get in behind, so he utilizes his pace to get in behind the defense. For the other forward, we have him on comeback on defense. It'll make this team defend in a 4-4-2 shape, which is really useful. Putting this forward on comeback means he'll come back to defend as a right mid or she, depending on who you are using. For the right centre mid, my more box-to-box centre mid, I have him on the balanced attack and cover centre. This is so he can go forward, but he still defends as well. We don't just want him always flying forward. And then cover centre, so he does defend as a centre mid. Middle centre mid is our more CDM type player, so we have him on stay back, cover centre. Pretty self-explanatory. We don't want him going forward. We want him staying back, and we also want him to defend as one of the central players. For the left centre mid, I use an actual attacker in this position, so we have him on get forward, get into the box cross, and cover wing. Get forward means he's going to fly forward, of course. Get into the box cross means not going to be hesitant to get into the penalty area, and cover wing, the most important instruction, makes him defend as a left mid in the 4-4-2. One of the fullbacks, again, balanced attack and overlap, doesn't matter which one. It just means you're going to get extra width in the attack, which is very useful. And then the other one, again, stay back and overlap, so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time. Keeper and centre back, do not touch them. When I'm desperate for a goal and there's not much time left, I will switch to this 4-2-4 tactic here. Very important not to use this all the time because you're going to get destroyed. This is when you need a goal, guys. So for the tactics, press after possession loss. We have to be aggressive. We have to win the ball back because we don't want our opponent to be able to time waste. So if we quickly lose possession, it's worth pressing to get that ball back. I still don't go with constant pressure though, because I feel like it does more harm than good. Your players will always be pulled out of position and they'll get very tired. So press after possession loss, really nice for me. Width 45 again. Don't want the defense to be too wide or narrow. It's the same as all the other formations. And then the depth, we do actually have this on 71. This is so you get like that automatic press from the AI defense. Very overpowered, guys. Very hard to play through. So 71 depth when I need a goal, very useful. The build-up play, have it on balanced again. I've explained this enough times now. It still gives you the best options when you're going forward. You can pick and choose which form of build-up you want to use whenever. Again, direct passing, very important to use, guys. Absolute must, in my opinion. For the width, 53, because it is a wider formation, so we don't want it to be like too narrow, because then it's more like a 4-2-2. So we do want to have a bit of width to it, which is really nice. And then we have players in box on 5 again, so we do get a few players into the box. Corners and free kicks, again, also on 2. Now for the player instructions on the 4-2-4, guys, on both the strikers, we have them on stay central, mixed attack. We don't want them drifting out wide. Again, we want them to be in the central positions there to finish off our chances. We also have them on mixed attack, so they do a lot more in the build-up. We don't just want them running in behind all the time. Even though we desperately need a goal, it can be a little bit too predictable. However, if you want to put them both on getting behind, you can. Completely up to you guys. For the wingers, I just leave them alone. Don't touch them. I don't like having them on stay forward because I feel like you're way too exposed even if you lose the ball, so I still prefer to have them on basic defensive support in that regard, but other than that we leave them alone. The left centre mid, the more defensive one, still have him on stay back. It's still important to have at least one defensive midfielder in the team, otherwise you're just going to get destroyed and you're going to go 2 goals down instead of 1, and there's no point even attacking at that point. So we also have him on cover centre, so he does defend those central areas. The right centre mid, again, balanced attack, cover centre, so he does go forward and help the transitional play from defense to attack. Cover center means he will defend those central areas as well. Again, I have one fullback on balanced overlap, but if you're really desperate for a goal, you can even have them both on it. It's completely up to you, but I still prefer just to have one, so I still have a few defensive players in case we lose the ball. And then, yeah, for the centre-backs and the keeper, I just leave them alone, and that's it. What about when we need to see out a game? Well, I use the 4-2-2 for this because I find it to be a very easy formation to defend with. It's very similar to the 4-2-3-1, but I feel like it's easier to win the ball back and get the ball higher up the pitch with the 4-2-2. So, like, you can win the ball back and then you can hoof it up and keep possession. It's very defensive in that regard, and I do like it for that. So, what I have on this is defensive style balanced. Don't suggest drop back. It is way too defensive. You're just going to get passed through and it's not good. So balanced is still the best option. Width 40, we want to seal it up a bit, tighten it. We don't want it to be, you know, too wide at this point. We don't want to leave too many gaps. So we want it to be nice, narrow and compact so our opponent can't get through the middle of us. Depth I have on 45. We don't want to be pressing as high up the pitch because then we're just going to give our opponent unnecessary chances. It's better to sit a little bit deeper and stop the through balls from our opponent. This is a must in my opinion when you are trying to see out a game. Build up play, again, balance, still the best form of build up. You can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build up, so balance is the best there. Direct passing, again, still very important because if you do get a chance, you still want your players to move correctly, and direct passing is the best for that. Width 45, don't want the attackers to be too far apart from each other, but we also don't want them to be too close, so it is really nice and balanced. Players in box, I lower this to 4 than in other formations, so we still have a few players in the box if we do get a chance, but we still have a lot of players back, so if we lose possession, we're not going to get counter-attacked as easily. Corners and free kicks, I have these both on 1 because it's not worth getting counter-attacked when you are winning a game, so it's best just to have this on 1 in my opinion. For the player instructions, I have the strikers on stay central, come back on defense. Stay central, the same as all the other formations, guys. We do want them in those central positions. We don't want them out wide. We also have them on come back on defense just for the extra support, the extra line of defense, which makes it harder for your opponent to get through. So very important, guys. For the wingers, the right cam and the left cam, sorry, I just have them both on come back on defense and get into the box across. Come back on defense means they will sit next to the CDMs and make it like a 4-4-2, which is very, very secure defensively. Very important to have this instruction on if you are trying to be defensive, guys. And then we also have them on get into the box cross, so they do get into the box if we do get a chance. For the CDMs, guys, I have one on stay back, cover center. This is the more defensive minded player. It's the same as other formations. We still want at least one defensive midfielder here. And yeah, for the other one, I still have him on balanced cover center because, again, I still want to have some attacking threat if we go forward. I don't want it to be too difficult to get up the pitch, so it's still important to have that transitional player. And then cover center again. For both the fullbacks in this formation, when I'm defending, I have them both on stay back and overlap. This is so we don't commit our back four forward, and we've always got our back four intact, so there is not enough space for our opponent to do through balls down the line. Makes us very secure defensively. Overlap means if we do send them on a run forward, however, they'll still make those overlapping runs. As for the centre backs and the keeper, guys, I just leave them alone. And yeah, they're my tactics and my full game plan, guys, in EAFC. If you have enjoyed this or found it useful, please be sure to drop this a thumbs up, sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.